Welcome to Nature's Glory Cabin Off-Road. We're adding to our library. We're starting something called the Full Trail Series, where we do a trail start to finish, pretty much completely real time. Hints, tips, narration completely throughout. We'll still be doing our regular videos, so watch for all of those and watch for the new series as they come out. Alright, we're going to take a slight left here off of 613 onto Spas Creek Road. From the highway here, the 613, it's right at 2 miles back here to the trailhead. This is something a little different we're doing. We're going to call this the Full Trail Series. We've had a couple of people ask to see the full trail. These will be kind of long. They're going to be the entire trail, start to finish, and I'll talk about any obstacles that we may do or we may avoid as we do this. Well, about 2 miles later, we're pulling up to the start of the trail, and we always pull over here, and this is usually where we get everybody to air down and get prepared for the trail. So we're going to stop here a minute and get ready for that ourselves. Alright, here we are at the beginning of Spas Creek. We've done the air down ritual and everything we do to get ready. So we're just going to go through here and we'll explain some of the things as we get to them. Spas Creek's actually a pretty easy trail. The bottom of all these mud holes are pretty well solid rock, so you're not going to get stuck on anything. And as we get to some obstacles, we'll explain those. Enjoy. And this place was hit pretty hard by Hyline last year in the ice storm. And one thing you need to remember is probably carry a chainsaw, especially if you're coming out and doing some of this stuff on your own. The trail itself is not that hard, but a tree can be down at any time. And you can see right up here in front of us this tree that has been cut out. Some of our friends cut this one out, and you can see how big it was laying across here. It was impassable, and this is just one of the spots. There'll be more as we get through that I'll mention. Guess I should tell you what we're driving today. We're driving our 2002 TJ on 35-inch tires and a 5-inch lift. So just so you know what kind of clearance we have as we go through here. Pretty stock vehicles can do this on this end. There's a couple of bad spots on the other end, of course, which I will point out. As we go along the creek here, this tends to get washed out. You can see on the left there a little bit. There's a little bit of washout, and you got to be prepared for those things when you come through here. Alright, we're coming up on the first obstacle. There is a bypass around it. There's a fairly deep mud hole. It can be deep, straight ahead. And there's a bypass off to the right. My wife's going to get out here and take pictures. She usually takes pictures, puts them on the Facebook page. Facebook page has the same name as the YouTube channel, Nature's Glory Cabin. And here we're going to take off through the mud hole. This has been up to, I don't know, top of a 37 before. The water's a little lower today. Got a little bit of a rut in the bottom. Spiles Creek is usually pretty muddy. I've never seen these mud holes without water in them. Sometimes they get smaller as it gets drier into the summer, but there's always water back in here. I believe there are live springs up in these hills that just keep feeding water down. Take it easy through the mud holes. A lot of times they may have a steep entry or a steep exit, so you don't surprise yourself. Coming up on the next little optional obstacle, you can go around this to the left if you want to. We're going to go up the little dirt incline, and this is going to be the little optional incline. I'll go up this right here, and you can go around it to the left if you want to. And this here, we're going to go into the creek here. The correct path is on the left side. I have seen people go down the right, but that's not the correct way. You need to stay to the left here to stay on the trail. So do your best to stay on the trail. Follow all the rules and tread lightly. Pack out what you pack in and try to carry other stuff out if you can as well. Coming up on an optional spot here as well. There used to be a tree down the creek and a bypass was made. The bypass now, if you want to use it, is optional. So we'll stop here for a second and I need to get set up for pictures again. Yes, there was a tree down right here in the creek, and it was undercut so a lot of people could get under it, but it was also in the creek. So also a bypass was made here to get around it. It goes up and around right here. And when you climb up here, there's a little bit of a drop off on the left side, so you'll want to stay a little bit to the right of that little stump that I just came up. Again, you can stay in the creek and bypass this completely. You got to watch over here on the side next to this tree. You want to square up to it because it's got kind of a, you get too close to that tree, there's roots, and you don't want to get caught up in the roots. You want to get as far over and square up on the left and come straight down over it. That's your best bet. And again, if you're very stock and don't have much of a lift or anything, you may want to stay in the creek and just bypass it altogether. And we always run 4 low back here for lots of reasons. 4 low help control your speed, control your braking, and generally is better on your transmission as well. So 4 low is what you use for trails. Now if you're out on a gravel road where you can go a little faster than 5 to 8, 10 miles an hour, then you can be in 4 high or 2 high. But back here on the trail, crawling around and taking it easy, 4 low is the way to go. Lockers are only needed when you need them and things like that. We're recording this on July the 27th, 2025, so that's important to know because trail conditions can change easily. Right here in front of us, you can see a little washout starting on the left. Next time I come back here, if we get rain, that washout could be worse. So you got to pay attention to those things. Trail conditions change regularly. Trees fall. all kinds of things can happen. So just be aware of that before you go out and try to get the most current trail conditions that you can get. Here's one of the nicer creek crossings. It's straight across. The water a lot of times can be deeper. It's pretty shallow today. And you come across on the other side, you want to go straight across. There is another one to the left. That's more of a side-by-side thing. We want to go straight across, and it's a little up a little climb here, which shouldn't be much trouble, and a little off camber to the right. Cross the same creek one more time. That's a lot of theme back in here. We cross this creek a lot. And now we're going to go into a boat hole here. Generally speaking, when it's wet, this water is a whole lot deeper. Not really a bypass to the right. You can try it if you wanted to, but you'll get down to the end, you just end up back in the mud. So for the most part, you're better off just staying in the mud holes and going right along with the flow. Again, they got nice solid bottoms. There's several of them in succession here. Things are dry right now, but even when they're deep, they're not real deep. Another thing to watch out for, this is private property on both sides, so stay on the trail. I'll point out, I noticed that right there, just as we came through, was a spot where it looked like people had gone off to the left, and that's private property. You don't want to do that. And there's another place or two, I will also mention that ahead. There's another one of those drop-offs into the mud hole, going along real easy, and all of a sudden, whoops, there's the hole. So kind of take it easy. You may not know what the bottom really holds. Could be a rock down there, could be a drop-off. Not real bad through here, just something you need to always be aware of. Some basic rules of the trail when you're out with other people. Make sure you can always see the vehicle in front of you and the vehicle behind you. Hopefully everybody's got radios. If you don't have radios, honk the horn if somebody needs help to stop them so everybody will come back. When you're going through here, if you're new at it or you've got lower clearance, one of the best things you can do is put your tire on the biggest rock so you carry over the rock and don't drag it under you and damage your undercarriage. You want to go on the tire on top of the rock. You don't want to straddle it. You don't want it to go under you. You want it to go to the side and your tires go over it. And I know I mentioned stock vehicles, but I mean stock off-road vehicles. I don't mean your day-to-day driver. I mean a stock off-road vehicle, something that has probably at least an all-terrain and maybe a 33-inch tire. Not necessarily much of a lift for a trail like this, but you get it. It's actually an off-road vehicle, not an everyday car. At the speed we're going through here, we're probably going, I don't know, 3 to 5 miles an hour tops. Spauld's Creek takes us about 45 minutes to get through it, as long as we don't stop for much of anything. A few little picture stops don't take that long. This is when we're alone. Now, when we're with a group, it takes usually at the minimum an hour, depending on how many and how well equipped and how much trouble we have. It may take 2 hours. This is what we call the Flexi spot on Spauld's Creek. There's 2 ways to get across this creek. The left side is flatter and smoother. The right side is the Flexi side, where you'll flex your suspension. It's got a pretty good off-camera, I don't know if the camera's showing that very well, and a fairly steep exit. You can put your tire into this wall on the left side and go through it a whole lot more level if you want to. Right now, I'm going through it way off-camber, probably 25 degrees or so on purpose. We're going to come up here to the end, and we're going to come out of this steep side, and going to come right up to the top over here, and there's a great big mud hole. You want to stay on this side. That side on the left is private property. You don't want to go there. And as soon as you come out of the Flexi spot, you go into this mud hole. It is not as deep as you think. Again, nice solid bottom. Stay on this side. The other side is private property. You got to stay right here. And again, things like this happen. Apparently there's somebody else on the trail up here ahead of us, and it happens. So
Thanks. There's another one gonna be coming behind me too back there. I don't know how far back he is. So those things happen. You'll meet people on the trail, and of course on the weekends you hope that they can get out of your way. Luckily he pulled up the creek. And again, here's another little spot, has a bypass. Typically I stay to the right. I've never actually used a bypass. I usually just stay to the right here. Don't quite know why there's even a bypass here, because one about the same as the other. And here's another one. A lot of times this water can be fairly deep. We had a video back in the winter where we had 4 inches of ice through this particular spot right here where we were breaking the ice. So this can be pretty deep. But again, none of these are too deep for a stock off-road vehicle. And when I say deep, I'm talking maybe 12 inches or so, something like that. That one at the very beginning can be the deepest one. I've seen it to the top of my 37-inch tire on my other Jeep, but that's unusual as well.
coming up on a spot here now that has a bypass. If you go straight ahead here, this trail does continue straight ahead, but there's a fairly hard obstacle right up in the middle, very off camber, sharp drop off. If you can see that no trespassing sign off to the right on that stump, most of the time we go to the left here and bypass that. We have done it before several times. I think we have video of it someplace, but we usually take the bypass right here, and most people are able to go this way through the bypass. There are some little switchbacks up here, a little tight going through some trees and all, but otherwise that little off camber right there, if you noticed. You go through here and weave your way through and come out to the other side in the creek. It's off to the right there. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but it's off to the right in the creek. Right there is the spot. So we're going to keep going through here. That's a little narrow on that right side, so we're going to go through the mud hole here on the left. Longer vehicles will have a little more trouble getting through here because the trees can be a little tight, but I've seen pickup trucks and JKUs, JLUs go through here just fine. Up here on the right is another place you can enter the trail if you want to. We're going to make a left and go by it because it has gotten very sharp downhill as well, so it's a pretty good obstacle to climb down that. So we're going to go left and weave around the trees here and stay on the bypass. And then we're going to enter into the creek. Now, if you've noticed this tree up ahead of me here, can be a lot of these trees down. If you have a rooftop tent or something like that, some of these might cause you some trouble because they don't always get cut out because most people don't have that. And you'll see, I don't know if you notice the sign, there's a posted sign on the left for private property that's on the left side of the trail right here. And you will get Kentucky pinstripes. You just can't avoid it. So don't think you can drive through here and not get a little bit of pinstriping. There's probably not much you can do about it. It's going to happen. So if you're afraid of getting a few little scratches here and there, I'm sorry, this probably isn't for you. And occasionally it may be more than a light scratch. So I guess if you wanted to, you could get out and snap off a twig if you thought it was too much. But just so you know, a lot of this stuff's pretty tight, and there's just no way around it. Going through here, you may see what looks like a little trail where people tried to climb these hills. That's private property. Don't do that. Now we're coming up on an area right here. You can see trees down. This was again Hyline, or the ice storm back October through the first of the year. The right side used to have a nice little breakover we could do, and our friends cut this out as well. They cut that one out in the front. So this is the bypass. So luckily they cut this mess out for us, and we get to enjoy it. So show you appreciation, help keep the trails clear. We're working our way toward the Limestone chute, and you've probably heard me talk about that before if you watch any of our other videos. There's also another optional little climb you can do, and I'm going to do that climb, and my wife's going to get out and take pictures. It's right here on the left, and when she gets out, we'll set up for that. I'm gonna go ahead and square up to this and get ready, so when she's ready, she'll let me know. Okay, here we go. I haven't had to use a locker or anything on this before, so I'm gonna see if we can get up it today. There we go, right up it. No lockers, no traction devices. So she's gonna get pictures of me coming down the other side. It's more of a ramp over here, not quite as steep. More dirt. And this puts us back into the creek right before the chute. There's usually a waterfall here if there's enough rain. And then we're gonna get ready to climb out of here at the chute as she repositions. You get yourself squared up good here, especially if you're in a longer vehicle, so you don't scrape both sides. If you need help, be sure to ask. Ease up to it, it should pull you right up it. And there you go. Of course, I'm kind of set up with good tires and all, so street tires and lower clearance will make that a little bit harder. Alright, after you get out of the chute, there's a little bit of a little rock climb here, nothing very hard. This rock is easy for your tires to grab. This is limestone here, this is the sandstone. So this is a little different. It's the only two kinds of rock we got up here. So there's a few rocks up this hill. And again, like I said before, place your tire on the biggest rock so you don't drag your undercarriage if you have low clearance to protect yourself. I usually do it anyway, just as a matter of practice. This hill can be kind of slick and sloppy occasionally. It hasn't been as bad lately. It's been down to more rocks. But there are some ruts, and if you have low clearance, that could cause you a problem. Get up to the top up here, there's a mud hole just as we get here. It's not as bad as it used to be. It's got a little bit of a drop off going into it, but for the most part it's just dirt and mud. If you scrape anything on the bottom, it's just going to be dirt, so you're going to be fine. They've got an exit for the water, so we're going to drop right over into it, and it's not as steep as it used to be. Again, your length and your ground clearance, you may drag a bumper there. It's just dirt, so hopefully you've got a rear hitch. A rear hitch will help you a lot. Call it the rear skid plate. Now we're coming up on what I think is probably the hardest obstacle in the whole trail these days. It's just a really deep mud hole up here. Has a really steep entrance and exit. And low ground clearance people have a lot of trouble with this one. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try to do it with no lockers, no traction devices. There's a rut on this other end too, so it can be kind of tricky. So we're going to see if we can power up this thing with these good mud tires. It's good and steady, just go right up it, and there it is. Good and steady, not too much throttle, and good tires. It makes a world of difference. Now on our way out of Spalls Creek here, that's the worst of the obstacles. Now we're going to climb a little hill. It's a little bit rocky again. It's got rocks on it. What I say to do, put your tire on the biggest rock. So climbing this hill here, we had a little rain, so the windshield's a little wet on occasion. So when we get up through here, we start getting to these rocks, we put our tire on the rock, ease across it, go on to the next one until you get up to the top. If you encounter ruts, try to find a way to straddle the ruts if you can. If not, you may need to run beside them. There will be some ruts at the top. When we get there, we'll talk about those. Yeah, kind of a little bit of surprise there. Dropped off that edge. That was a little bit off camber. No big deal. I went a little faster than I should have. I don't know if you can see them on the camera or not. There's a few rocks in front of me on the trail. So the biggest one appears to be pretty close to the middle, so I'm going to ride across it and across a couple of them with my right side tires, easing up over them and just keep right on going. Another thing you need to think about your tire pressure. If you're running street tires, you can't really lower them that much because the sidewalls can't take it. But if you're running mud tires or all-terrain tires, you need to find the sweet spot for that tire. And every tire is different depending on the load range. The load range is on the side of it, and that tells you how many plies are in the sidewall. So that's something you may have to play with to get right. If you really have any questions about it, ask me, shoot me a message, and I'm happy to talk to you about it. Few ruts here at the end that didn't used to be here. Like I said, we've had a lot of weather in the last year, so we've got a lot here to negotiate. Another thing that I do is I have a sway bar disconnect. It makes negotiating all of these things a lot easier. You can do it without sway bar disconnects, but you may carry a tire, you know, things like that. So again, here's some ruts at the end. We're going to kind of go around this left side to get around most of them. There's a big one there. So that is actually the end of Spalls Creek. So we're going to shoot on out of here, and when we get up to the end, we'll show you where we come out on the highway and tell you where we're at. We'll wait until we get to the top of the hill up here before we get back into too high, because this hill, there's a little rut right here. I'll go off to the left a little bit, make this a little easier on me. I discovered that the last time I was up here. Again, stay on the main trail to the left. That bypasses, I don't know what it is, but it's on private property. Private property on both sides of the road up here. A lot of times we'll see hunters and people on side-by-sides that are locals. We'll get up here to the top of the hill and get it back into too high, because once we get to the top, it's all downhill. It's gravel like this all the rest of the way out. There's one place you got to make sure you don't miss the turn so that you go the right way. So this is a good place to stop for changing into too high. So we'll do that right here. Still not going very fast, 10, 12, 15 maybe. Again, there's holes in the road that you don't want to beat your vehicle on or shake your teeth out. So as we come up here, you can see the gravel changes color. It's a little more lighter gravel. We want to stay left here to stay on the trail and head out the road. You can see there's a vehicle there. So we're going to stay left here. There should be a DBB sign on one of these trees here somewhere. There was. I don't know if it still is or not, but this is the correct way. It's taken us about an hour today, and that's about as fast as we can do.
do it. I said 45 minutes earlier, but I'd had to be flying to do that. That's almost going too fast. It's about a 5-mile long trail, so if you're going 5 miles an hour, that's an hour. So if you're going less than 5, of course, it might take a little longer. So we are now in Menifee County, Kentucky, Frenchburg area. That starts off in the Slade area over in Powell County. Alright, we are coming out to Highway 713, also known as Indian Creek Road, also known as Hawkins Branch Road. You can go left and get all the way around. It'll take you to 460 closer heading toward Mount Sterling, or go right, which is the way we're going to go on 713 here, and takes us into Frenchburg. And that's the end of this video. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this style.